Governor Cuomo has been facing intense calls for him to resign as a result of our finding out that multiple women have now accused him of sexual harassment. And he says that he is embarrassed for the pain that he's caused, but he does not plan to resign as New York's governor. That has been made very clear. His apology has changed over time because the early drafts needed quite a bit of work. I would argue the most recent one, still pretty bad. But anyway, he doesn't need my advice because there's better advice out there for people who might have to deal with someone like a Governor Cuomo. Here is the advice for women from Jesse Waters of the Five.
She can't believe that it just gone from a normal, friendly interaction to this guy's putting his hands in places that I can't believe it's happening. So I would suggest that women, and I've gotten in trouble for saying this before, you slap the man in the face. And you do it immediately. Because if you wait too long, then the politician feels like he can keep doing this. And it doesn't matter if it comes out a year or 3 years later. Do it immediately when he's fresh.
Adrienne, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that idea of let me slap the man in the face, that is very 1950s. I am a huge proponent of if anybody puts their hands on you, yeah, do what you need to do to defend yourself. But unfortunately, we have these workplace settings where if I were to defend myself and I wasn't in maybe true significant danger, someone was actually just getting fresh with me, then charges could be brought against me. It would be his word against mine. And since we already have the gender power dynamics that are skewed in the world in which we already live, there's a good chance that I'd be losing my job and possibly charged with assault. So to just say, hey, if this person's getting fresh, slap them, like that isn't the way to go about it. Document the hell out of it maybe, but don't necessarily go to physical force. And because that person may slap you back. And if they're bigger than you, they may knock you out.
Yeah, this may come as news to Jesse Waters, but because he's still processing that women have to contend with a world where men harass and assault them. Wait until he finds out that men also kill women. Men seriously injure and murder women, especially I would say women that fight back against them. So it's terrible advice. That's the easy response. It's terrible advice for the reason that you said, that it'll probably just result in you being in worse trouble because it is, like you said, your word against him. And the physical evidence, since you just slapped him in the face, is probably stronger for him than it is for you. So that's terrible. It could lead to you being brutalized or possibly murdered. And also, it's not the woman's duty to fight the person off. And if she doesn't do that, then he'll think it's okay. That's what Jesse Waters said. That's just another form of it's your fault because you didn't fight back in the particular way that I, after the fact, say that you have to. Yep. It's not the woman's yeah. What do you think?
That is very much the rhetoric when it comes to sexual harassment, especially when it's workplace professional relations. And I wrote the book, Staying in the Game, the playbook for beating workplace sexual harassment. And in this, I address the fact that the legal standard makes it so that if you want to prove workplace sexual harassment, you have to first show that it was unwelcome. Why? Because there's a presumption that I would love your hand cupping my breast when I'm in a meeting in accounting. No, like it should be presumed. The harasshole should have to be the one to show that they were welcome in their behavior. You shouldn't have to show that the behavior was unwelcome. These are supposed to be professional interactions. So let's assume that everything professional going down is the default rather than things that are sexual. But unfortunately, this is how it's set up, where you are already as a woman on the defense when you fight these things in court. And so Jesse's mentality here is actually very much aligned with the law, and that is junk.
The law should never be aligned with Jesse Waters. That's a terrifying thing. Yeah, I will say it has been pretty fascinating to me watching Fox News deal with the Cuomo thing because look, they've certainly criticized Cuomo. But not the way that I really would have expected. And look, I'm sure that I'm missing some stuff. I don't watch most of Fox News, but right there, he was a little bit sort of like he's putting it on the woman. Lindsey Graham said that the Democrats should just ignore this and move past it like they did with Kavanaugh. That was his advice. Geraldo was defensive about him. And like Sean Hannity was talking with Dan Bongino, and Dan Bongino called him a creep, but he also was like, no, we have to like totally, have like due process because you can't trust women and all this. Like, I wonder if they sort of subconsciously know that they've backed themselves into a corner, because for years they've been saying that all these women are liars and you can't trust them. And if they start to say that there should be consequences for this, the next inevitable Republican politician that's harassing or assaulting a woman might be responsible too. I don't know, maybe I'm projecting onto them, but it seems like they might get what they've been advocating for.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong at all. And we need to fully appreciate the fact that Republicans have not cornered the market when it comes to misogyny or sexual harassment, that this is something that's universal. It doesn't matter if there's an R or a D behind your name, that this is something that's more aligned with the patriarchal society in which we live. And so people want to be beneficiaries of the thought that they can get fresh or inappropriate with women. That's all a part of the power scheme. It doesn't matter what side you're on, whether you're Fox News or CNN, what may have you. And when we fully, truly appreciate that, it makes everyone's response to this make sense because, hey, what they're doing, they're bolstering the patriarchy. That is a universal thing they'd love to support.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.